This is Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. I'm Joe Reed. I have Leslie Fine with me, and she's going to wrap up what has been a really terrific week.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up with a great title. My theme has been books that take you somewhere that you could also listen to in a weekend. So I'm calling it my weekend travel theme. And with that, we have a great new title by Emily Henry called Great Big Beautiful Life.
And read by Julia Whelan, who reads all of Emily Henry's books.
Right? And she does it so well. This is no exception. This is another great audio performance by golden voice Julia Whelan. And I know I have to put it out there. This is a longer listen. This is a 12-hour audiobook. It's not like my other ones from earlier in the week that were shorter. But come on, who can resist Emily Henry? She takes you away somewhere and no exception. She takes us all kinds of places in this audiobook, and it's just a great listen. You'll want to finish it in a weekend because you'll want to know what happens.
And, when a new Emily Henry book drops, I know summer is coming, which is lovely.
It is. It's so true. And this is a great one.
Tell me about it.
We have kind of two stories running parallel here. We have two journalists. We have Alice and Hayden, and they're both essentially auditioning to win the honor of writing a memoir for this heiress named Margaret Ives. So the two of them are going to be competing to kind of win her over. I'll do the better job. You can trust me, that kind of a thing. So we're watching that competition and, of course, romance unfold. But then at the same time, we get to hear Margaret's actual story, which is pretty riveting. She grew up as this part of this famous family, and she had this jet-setting life, but then it was also, as she mentions a number of times, there was also mention of a curse, a shadow over this family. So there's a lot to her story, as well as just the back and forth between Alice and Hayden, which is pretty entertaining. So it's a story within a story, and both plot lines are pretty great.
Now, I read a review of this that said in fact, Emily Henry said that this was different from any of her other books, that family really factors a lot into this book.
Oh, yes. I think that's the thread that really connects everything. The past with Margaret's story and then the present with Alice and Hayden, everything comes back around to family and relationships and loss and loyalty. There's all kinds of complexity there with that idea. I totally agree.
And I would think with 2 stories basically that you're hearing Margaret's story, but then there's the story between the journalists. That's a lot of characters.
It is, it's funny, when I was trying to, collect my thoughts, I thought, "Well, gosh, there are so many characters," but the main characters are really, that group is tight enough that you can distinguish between each of them really well. I mean, Julia Whalen does a really good job no matter what, but each one of these
Yeah.
characters has a personality, really subtle changes in voice, so you always know, who you're dealing with. And that core group really does have well-developed personalities. And then of course, as you learn all of these other stories, we hear about these other characters, but the main ones are really well developed.
Well, why don't we hear some? Set it up.
So I I find with Emily Henry's work, I always wanna end up going to the places that she describes,
Right?
and so a lot of the action here takes place at a place called Little Crescent Island, and, this is where the auditioning is taking place, this is where Margaret is living in, kind of isolated and anonymously, and so a lot of the action takes place there, and that's what you're gonna hear in this clip. Alice is arriving at the island home of Margaret Ives, and this is just a nice description, that captures that sense of place, and you'll get a wonderful little opportunity to hear Wayland's narrative style too.
Okay. This is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, read by Julia Whelan.
I try to school my grin into an expression of neutrality. It's important that I play this cool. Fact, I have never played it cool in my life. I open the gate, my sandals slapping the stone walkway as I follow its curve around a wall of foliage, black needlerush and cabbage palm, prickly pear and glasswort, and, my favorite, live oak. 11 years in Los Angeles, but every time I see a Georgian live oak, I still think, home. A charming turquoise house on wooden stilts comes into view, and I climb a handful of worn wooden steps to reach its hot pink front door, every inch of which has been hand-painted with white swirls. I'm rewarded with a suitably eccentric doorbell. I mean, it looks like a normal doorbell, but when I hit it, it sounds like wind blowing through chimes. I'm still mid-preparatory breath when the door swings open and a short, gray-haired woman in a faded flannel shirt and jeans scowls out at me. "Hi," I stick my hand out. "I'm Alice. Scott."
Among Julia's many gifts, I think, is a great narrative sense. She is always so sensitive to the text.
Oh, absolutely. And just capturing the character's voice, but also the character's inner voice. You know, when you're hearing the thoughts of if that character is narrating, you're hearing those inner thoughts. I think she does such a great job with just kind of putting that personality into it.
This is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, read, of course, by Julia Whelan. Leslie, thank you. You had a great week, and it was a pleasure to talk to you as always.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's great to talk to you.
And I'll speak to you next month.
Sounds perfect. I look forward to it.
Me too. Dreamscape is the sponsor of today's episode of Behind the Mic. Dreamscape publishes audiobooks from authors like Frida McFadden, Kirsten Proby, and Katie Robert. Explore their full catalog at dreamscapepublishing.com. And don't forget, tomorrow, Friday, it's a bonus edition of Behind the Mic. It's our Earphones Roundup with Laura Rossi. She'll discuss a book that she's already listened to, the book she's listening to now, and what is next on her queue list. So you definitely won't want to miss it. I'm Joe Reed. I'll talk to you tomorrow.